So one of the most important things in losing weight is nutrition. So, as I mentioned, nutrition is quite important. We stack up on proteins, carbs, and fats. So walk with me. An apple a day keeps the X's away.
Okay, so
So, we literally said don't say so.
not saying so. Yes, people, welcome back. You saw a small tidbit of us doing a weekly shop. I've spread it out over here. We've got some flowers because we're not uncivilized, make it look a bit aesthetic. But what we're going to do today is walk through what I typically consume on a daily basis, from my proteins to the fats to the carbs. I'm approaching it very differently. I'll link a video here explaining my fat loss approach, which can sort of break down where I'm at and what I'm doing to achieve the shredded physique. I'm approaching it very differently, and it's honestly a new venture for me because I'm working with a coach this time. Typically with flexible dieting, and if it fits your macros, you get allocated carbs, fats and proteins and you hit them. And it's usually a 40% to 20% split between protein, carbs and fat. However, what we're doing differently this time is my carbs are significantly lower and my fat and protein are quite high. So my protein, and we'll link them up over here, my protein is about 195 grams per day, my fat is about 100 grams per day, and my carbs are about 105, which equates to about 2,100 calories. We'll link it up over here as mentioned. So the reason we're sort of doing a low carb, high fat approach, what we found out was, when I was working with the coach, Lee Aesthetics, again we'll tag him here, is that my blood sugar levels were quite high on a regular basis. And because I have a family history of diabetes, we're trying to avoid us going to a place where my insulin levels are constantly peaking up. So in this particular approach, what we're doing is, as I mentioned, high fat, low carbs. The reason is we want to reduce our blood sugar levels, and that will eventually help us with fat loss. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link a few articles that relates to insulin sensitivity and fat loss in the description, so have a look at it yourself. So let's start with the carbs. Now, because my carbs are quite low, 100 grams is not much a day, what I'm trying to do is get the most bang for my buck. So I'm looking at volume-based foods, right? Not stuff that has high nutritional biological value. So what I mean by that is the per 100 gram nutritional information at the back of a product usually tells you how much carbs, proteins and fats there are. Yeah, so let's start off with the protein. Because I have higher fat allocation, what I've started to do is introduce more red meat. Red meat naturally has more fat inside. Minced is the best option, easy to cook, easy to prepare. You can mix it up with vegetables, pastas, it goes well with light mayo. Chicken breasts are another staple. This is Bro certified, this is bodybuilder certified. You can't go wrong, high protein, low levels of fat. What I wasn't used to was fish. However, I discovered a few recipes in which they can taste not like ass, but pretty decent. In fact, if we ever do a cooking video, we can link it up. But 22 grams of proteins per 100 grams of per 100 gram nutrition value, and decently low fat, maybe 1 or 2 grams of fat. Eggs are a staple. So again, because I'm on higher fats, I am consuming it with the whole yolk not just the egg white, splitting them apart. Last resort for me is supplementation when it comes to whey protein. Now, if you're ever pressed for time, if you haven't prepared, which usually happens in a very busy time, these can come in handy in getting your numbers hit. Now, when it comes to the protein, there are two specific brands that I'm quite fond of. There's the USN brand, which is a decent allocation of protein per 32 gram serving. In fact, it's about 24 grams of protein per serving. However, it has 2 grams of carbs and about 1.4 grams of fat. Much tastier. Strawberry, you can't go wrong. To be honest, that's a bro hack. Strawberry, usually amongst different brands, is the most consistent flavor and taste. If you go for salted caramel and different options, it's a hit or miss. However, strawberry, sherbet, milkshake, it hits. I would use this when making protein pancakes. It has more taste, it has more flavor. However, if I'm short on carbs, I would opt for something like Applied Nutrition, which per 100 grams has per 25 gram serving has 22 grams of protein, 0 grams of carbs, and 0 grams of fat. Moving on to fats. High allocation of fats, so I have more room to play with. Chia seeds, good options when you're having breakfast, throw them in. High source of fats, omegas. Skippies, peanut butter, I have an affinity for them as a brand. However, if you want to opt for the more natural stuff, the whole grain peanut butter kind of brands, I won't hold it against you. From a taste profile perspective, this works for me well. Add it to oats, add it to your morning pancakes, your protein pancakes, or just take it straight out of the jar like I have. Another fat option we have is cheese. I prefer sliced cheese, it's easier to put on sandwiches. However, what people don't understand is the nutritional information is actually quite favorable when it comes to the macronutrients. If I look at a particular slice of cheese here, and this is the Happy Cow, the sandwich light, it's 2 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein, and 1 gram of fat. That's pretty killer. So you can slap these in with a few sandwiches. Moving on to the next one, light butter. So butter gets a bad rap. However, the light brand, for a typical 10 gram serving, it's actually half the nutritional value of normal butter. So this particular brand, Lurpak, I recently discovered this in Art Cafe. For a 10 gram spread, you're looking at about 5 grams of fat, whereas usual normal butter would be 10 for 10. So this works out quite well. Light mayo, same too. Decently low macros. Per 100 grams, you're actually looking at 29 grams of fat for this particular brand. So it adds, again, changes the taste profile. It doesn't have to be bland. You can experiment with different types of foods, add in different types of macros that work well to the taste profile. So for me, butter, brown bread, that goes well. This particular light mayo with corn, with tuna, just changes the taste profile, keeps you satiated. Mentally, again, it helps you with going the distance, because as you get to the place where your carbs and fats get lower and lower and lower, sometimes you start craving sweets, and it helps if you can fit these into your daily allocation and help sort of fight that craving. Last few items of fat. Avocados, those work well. I would chop them up, put them in tuna, add in a bit of sauce, mix them up, changes the taste profile, works well. Cashews and almonds, that's another way to add to your oats, works well. You can get a good collection of fats from this. Chia seeds too. Right, last macros, carbs. Because I'm on very low carbs, 100 grams or thereabouts, I'm trying to maximize the most volume I can get. First place to start is leafy greens, vegetables. Easy to cook are the stir fry mixes. I've got various concoctions of each. Got broccolis there. We've got mixed sweet corn. What do you call these ones?
Carrots. Mix.
Yeah, carrots, sorry. Moving on to a blend of carbs and fats. I recently discovered this brand. There are two variations of this. There's the Greek yogurt, the normal one, which has 0 grams of carbs per serving. So this entire thing, 0 grams of carbs. And if we read the nutritional information, 5 grams of fat and 8 grams of protein per 100 ml. Actually, this is 150 ml, so it's not too bad. The flavored kind has the Greek yogurt variation again, pineapple, coconut, this particular brand, this particular flavor, has the same macro breakdown, however has 10 grams of carbs. Again, just to change things around, yogurt, good source of fats, good source of protein. I would recommend that. Moving on to the other carb option I have, which has low calories, is apples. An apple a day keeps mandamano away. Would highly recommend that. Another carb option I recently discovered at Art Cafe Market was oat flour. It's by Bob's. Who's Bob?
Your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. That's the one. If you look at the nutritional information per 100 grams, there's 22 grams of carbohydrates. I've added these to pancakes and they change the taste profile immensely. It tastes fantastic. The typical bro way to do it is oats, bananas, egg whites. Trust me, you can replace the oats with oat flour and the consistency changes completely. Highly recommend as a low carb option. Moving on, another carb options, blueberries and raspberries go well with oats, high in antioxidants, good nutritional breakdown and biological value, low in carbs. Pastas I do limit every now and then. What I opt for most of the time is githeri. So for those in Kenya, you know what that is. Those internationally, that's a breakdown between red beans, kidney beans and corn. You do get them readily prepared, high in fiber, decently low in carbs, and a sufficient change of protein in there. So that's another option I'd opt for. Or you can get the sweet corn variants yourself, add in red beans, throw in a bit of mayo, throw in tuna, throw in chicken, whatever your preference is. Good way to get your carbs in at a modicum of the value. Another carbohydrate option is whole wheat brown pasta. I have a personal preference for pasta over rice. The brown kind though, I am getting lower carbs per 100 gram valuation compared to white pasta, which is 75-80 grams of carbs. This is 67, so more volume for me. I would recommend that. The last carb option may not be in particular low carb, however, potatoes. Sweet potatoes get a lot of positive attention, however when it comes to the glycemic index, I think it's virtually the same to be honest, and it's your taste preference. Potatoes, you know, you can slice them and dice them. Fahad, just cut them up, chop them into little French fried pieces and you're good to go. Ah, Vish, this is just hard. Remind me never to do these kind of videos again.
So please, whatever. Please, I want to reach 1 million likes. So please, sarapaka